Hey, everybody. Chris Cooley here, artist behind Art Field Living, and I want to thank you for joining me on this beautiful Friday. I know it's the lunch hour, and you taking your time to share it with me, so I greatly appreciate it. And I am here to talk about my new endeavor, Art Field Living. I'm going to start off with what it is and how it came about. So I've also got my friend Dan Fowler here, friend, colleague, mentor, all the above. He is also a client of mine that's going through this process, so he's here to help sort of explain the process from his eyes. So thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. And I'm going to jump right into it, man. Art Fueled Living is a bridge that connects you to your community through art. And it also is a funding foundation, which is really unique, to help launch your cause and or idea. So really unique. But the other major possibility with this whole thing is this win-win-win situation, which I've coined and in my eyes creates the shared happiness. I live by it in both business and my personal life. And the difference between that and this win-win situation, which I heard from entrepreneurs quite often, they say, yeah, we'll create this win-win situation. Like, you win, I win, it's all good. But the major piece of that puzzle is the community, the people, the customer, the client. They really should be winning as well. So this is what I have created, and again, it's this art-fueled process. So how did I get to this place? I want to talk to Dan a little bit about that, and he has been there at the front line of the entire thing. It took me from really a technical graphic designer, which was built out of necessity for my business, and helped me turn it into this much broader scope that is really tuning into a God-given talent that I have, and really creating art and doing what I've been called to do, which is use that art to connect people. So, Dan, hey man,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, that's you summed it up really, really well there. You art fueled. I mean, is definitely says what this is. It's not just art as a byproduct or art as an afterthought. It's art fueled what you do. And anyone that knows Chris knows that he's fueled by art himself. So it makes no it's not a big stretch for us to think that he's going to bring a program into the world that's going to have art fueled in it or art fueled living. And not only is he living art fueledly, he's actually bringing that to other people too, including myself. So I'm very happy about that. It's kind of an interesting dynamic where we've been in mastermind together and helping him through some of the ideas around art fueled living, and then for him to turn around and create this awesome program that just like blows people's socks off, and for me to go, oh my gosh, that's really awesome. I want to do it too. Me, right?
Yeah, I guess we could share a little bit of the background. Dan had this event just to let everybody know back in April, I believe, out in Phoenix, and invited me to do some live drawing out there. And it was, wow, a great experience, and I just saw the potential in myself and for what I do to really have an influence on others and help them connect. It was really apparent when I was doing these drawings just how engaging it can be, how engaging it is, and it's it's amazing how it all turned out, though. I was there as kind of a side note, I guess, if you will. I don't want to downplay it at all, but it was kind of something that happened really quickly, and we put it together. But then it turned into a major focus. I think not just for you, but for me, that I took.
Yeah, totally. I'll just say everybody can kind of see behind Chris under his banner there. There's this big heart that's kind of like right by his head, and that's how Chris works. His heart and his head go hand in hand. And you didn't give yourself enough credit on the whole imagination IQ thing, my event, because Chris like sought me out. He was a colleague of ours. He works with her, and then she connected us. Just say, hey, you should be in each other's contact sphere. Cool. But then Chris actually stepped up and asked about how can he help me in my event? How can he give and support to Imagination IQ? And that's huge. So that's that heart part, and he's using his head because he wants to be joyfully involved with his passion. And so of course he's going to do that. And the Imagination IQ concept that I had to come up with, he was really connected to that. So he wanted to help in any way. And that's where the live art came into play. And it wasn't just art for the sake of art. He was actually creating pictorial representations of the key concepts that we were teaching and going through the course of the event. So instead of taking copious notes, you could actually see this image of Chris's work showing all the key points, and it was a visual that could stick in your brain better than any notes or bullet points on a piece of paper. So what he gave to me in that gift sense was just fantastic and awesome. And at the same time, there was, people got exposed to what he does, and that was the start. I think that was the start of cracking the nut open a little bit on this. Hey, this is a thing I love to do this, and I want to figure out how to create a system for it.
Yeah, well said, man. And it wasn't just a little crack, and then it was like a sledgehammer. But yeah, that really was the start of this whole thing, and it just gave me a little taste of what was possible, like you said, with the heartfelt connection, the genuine connection, and tying this fine art or this talent of bringing paint and all this into people's lives. And when I was there at the Imagination IQ, I thought that this was really cool, and I thought, well, geez, this is great, and I'll end up, kind of working with Dan. And as I worked with you, it was kind of like I wanted to get up to this level, and I think that's why we're here, because it's been executed, and now we have this art-fueled living possibility for all the people out there to have and to hold. So, I want to talk. That's the sum of it, and what it does, what it solves. It is amazing. I absolutely love it. First of all, but it really helps kind of solve these internal chaos. There's three things: internal chaos, there's a connection to your community, and then there's the generation of community pride. How does it heal internal chaos? Art. Really, the whole platform is built so that you don't have to do anything, so that it's tied into what I do, and the whole funding, the back end, it's all managed so that you don't have to spend that time worrying about Facebook. I mean, how many entrepreneurs have I talked to? It's how do I do Facebook? How do I do Google Hangouts? That's all covered, and the artwork is presented on those platforms. So it is a great way to then do the second piece of it, which is connect your community. And this is another thing that I hear all the time. It's like, and actually, Dan, you use it a lot, is like your tribe. But there's people that call it your peeps, your community. I like to call it your community, right? It's actually kind of an elusive thing now because of all the platforms and all these different elements that you can bring into connecting with those people. So this is a really genuine way to connect with them and present your own personality through this artwork. So I like to explain it sort of as, and this ties into the third piece, is generating community pride. The best example of it is a Live Strong bracelet. Everybody knows about that. You can identify who has supported that cause and who is like you just by that simple yellow band, right? So in this case, we work to create artwork that is representative of you and your cause, so that people can see it and it spreads out, and that genuinely accesses your community, your tribe, your homies, whoever they are. So those are really the three things that this solves, and I think Dan can speak for it a little bit. Just you're there, you've been there, you're doing it, and
yeah, my company. I mean, I've got a couple, But my company, Red River Productions, is a media production company, and then I also have Imagination IQ, which is a personal development, education, training company as well, with for entrepreneurs. And from a production standpoint, from a media production standpoint, I come across a lot of clients who are looking to create a product so they can go and promote or market, like a video or something like that. Great, and I actually work with a lot of nonprofits, and these nonprofits are always struggling to raise funds because they're focusing on the funds and not the awareness or the emotional connection that they're really wanting to create within the community. So they think there's a deficit of funds, and so they think we need to fill the deficit of funds, and then everything will be fine. But then it never is. There's always a deficit again. So it's because the community building hasn't been established well, this tribe or this community building like Chris is talking about. So Chris comes into play, and he actually bridges all of those gaps. Not only is he focused on the community building, creating the awareness and creating a win-win-win, the end result is raising funds, but then there's a foundation laid where we don't fall back into a hole every single time. So for one thing, from an outside perspective, I really appreciate that. But then on the flip side, he also helps entrepreneurs too. Entrepreneurs have lots of trials out there. They have an idea in their mind, and they're thinking, you know what, I'm going to go and get this crowd funded. Great idea. It's a great phenomenon that's going on right now all around the world, and it has lots of merit. I love crowdfunding. I like the concept of it. The only problem with crowdfunding, and the problem that I have run into many times, because I've tried to have some crowdfunding projects. Some of them were successful, some of them weren't. And the big thing was a very lack of touch. I'll just put it that way. Lack of hands-on, where it was like, here's a system, here's a portal, like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or a Rocket Hub, and here's a portal. Okay, go ahead and do it. Here's what you need to put up there. We'll tell you what works. Mm-hmm. But then you're on your own. You are on your own. And you have to if you don't have any technical skills or video skills or copywriting skills, then you're out of luck. And if you don't have the resources to go and hire those people, you're out of luck. And you can try to do a Kickstarter campaign or whatever the site you use, but ultimately it comes down to how awesome that portal becomes. And again, here where Chris bridges the gap, because he creates this portal for you. And not only that, you have access to him. I mean, I have access to him. It's just phenomenal. We jump on calls all the time to talk about my program and programs that we're putting through Art Fueled Living. So Chris bridges that gap, creates the platform, does all the technology, and he has the skills in the art. He has the capability in the copy set. He has the capabilities to set it all up so it's worry-free. Yeah. And so you're able to create traction within your community and your tribe without even having to get bogged down in all the technical stuff. I love that. And the art-fueled part is that through art, people are connecting on neural pathways, and that's why I love this, because art, and like music, art, etc., the arts actually opens up neural pathways in the brain, and actually everything's firing at the same time. Your imagination, your IQ, your left, your right, and this is where true openness comes from, and true connection with people, your message if you're an entrepreneur, and of course causes if you're not a nonprofit. And I love this. So when it's art fueled, it creates a platform for success. For me, for the people I serve, and of course for Chris as well, because he's able to bring his art into the world, help me out, and he's making money, I'm making money. And here's the big thing, I didn't have to put any money up front in order to get all this stuff taken care of, because of his system with Art Fueled, he's able to do all the fundraising portal, and he's able to take his percentage from that. I love that. I was like, wow, this is ingenious. Everybody was really stupid not to do this.
Well, it's kind of heartfelt, right? And I appreciate all those kind words, Dan. It means a lot. I guess I'm sort of prompted. I'm feeling called to just share a project that's in the works right now, just as an example of what's possible. And we worked with an amazing guy at Imagination IQ, Fizz, who's the motivational rock star, and he also has a technique that he uses called music visioneering. So, he plays a song, and you close your eyes, and it actually brings you to a place that you begin to find your center, find your peace, and it's just a really rad experience. But Fizz, the beauty of Fizz is that he actually started in his vision. The reason he feels he's been brought to this world. This is to bring joy through his music, right? And he worked with a community of kids who are sick and terminally ill and special needs, and played the music and did this music visioneering for them. So I heard what he was doing, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is mind-boggling. It's in perfect alignment with who I am and what I do, and what we are doing on this platform is raising funds for Fizz's not-for-profit that he has started and tried a crowdfunding campaign with that did not raise any money. So his heart's there. It's genuine. It's so purpose-filled, and it just isn't generating funds. Like, it's just so sad. I mean, to me, it's sad. So I thought, okay, let me talk to Fizz, and we're going to do Fizz's music visioneering for the children, so that the children can then basically have a vision. They can then verbalize that vision, and I am going to translate it live into visuals. Now, what is so awesome about that is that we then create those visuals, that positive, that it's healing, it's almost like art therapy, that becomes a coloring book. So these children who might be terminally ill and aren't here forever, I mean, let's be honest, their legacy can live on in this book. The other cool thing about this book is that it becomes the platform, the piece, the piece of the puzzle that we give as a gift for people to donate. So they're donating to this cause. We're raising money through Fizz's charity. The money that we raise is Fizz gets to hand a check to the school that we're working with, and there is no upfront cost. It's the percentages all covers all the production, everything. So I'm really, really pumped about this project because it's just so, oh man, it's almost emotional because it's so connected, it's so beautiful, and it's this win-win-win, right? I mean, it truly is. And there's even another win in there. It's like Fizz, the school, the kids, me, it just all goes around. And the more wins we can create, the more happiness. I am totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. And Dan, Fizz as well. You've been working with him too. So
no, I mean, I don't know if you. Hopefully, you guys caught that too, because I'm just listening to going, yep. There's not a program out there that I've ever come across that combines the heart-centered, the spiritual-centered, where I really care about humanity type of place, that combines that with cause-generated endeavors, whether it be nonprofit or otherwise, and also the understanding the business acumen behind everything, that it's not just about raising funds and then people forgetting about it. This is actually creating a beacon of light within the community, so no one ever forgets. Now, this is truly, truly not leaving anybody behind, whether it's a child or an adult or whatever it may be, or a business owner and their clients. I mean, you're not leaving anybody behind. And Chris is so masterful with this, is that he is not there's no upfront cost. It's his expertise and stuff is being paid for. He's being taken care of financially on the back end from monies that are raised. And I was like, well, duh. I'm like, well, why hasn't somebody done this before? I've actually talked with consultants who work with nonprofits, and they charge a consulting fee up front. Hey, we're going to help structure your campaign, your fundraising campaign, blah, blah, blah. So the nonprofits, they have money, they have from grants or whatever else, and then they spend their hard-earned or hard-granted money to these consultants that don't have a guaranteed level of success. Whereas there's no risk when it comes to this other side. It's the school or the nonprofit or the business is going to be able to raise funds for their cause or project, and be able to get the majority, the lion's share percentage of it. I think it's what is it, 70%, something like that, Chris?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's huge. And I guess what, I don't have to set up a website. I don't have to do anything. Chris handles all of that, and he comes through and helps me create a program with his Art Fueled that actually motivates people to donate for my cause or project, whatever it may be. How I don't know. For me, that's just like brilliant.
Thanks, man. And I love that you brought up the entrepreneurial part of it because we've been talking a lot about not-for-profits and causes, and that is a huge part of what I do. But like for your project, for instance, it is more about connecting the community as a whole. And you are an entrepreneur who has this event, and I think this is a great time to talk a little bit about your project and what we're doing. And I want to say, like, Dan and I came up with this part of this too is like, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. We're going to come up with it together. So that's the beauty of, setting up a consultation. I do a free 30-minute consultation. Actually, you can see it right here on the bottom. That's where link. You can go directly there if you're interested. But Dan and I had some great conversations. We brainstormed and came up with he wants to do, and we're going to create an Imagination IQ board game so that you can actually take that experience back with you when you leave, which is a genius idea in its own because of these events. You get all amped up and then you leave and then it's like, hey, where to go? So in this case, you can actually participate in the game. You can bring other people in. The interesting part and where I'm tied to this is we've done the back end. So we've built the website. It's going to be launched, and people can send their donations. But this is another privately funded endeavor, and there are levels, just like a crowdfunding. If you know that you get a gift, and for each level. Well, at the higher levels, we are actually going to work with that person who donates or to the cause, and they're going to go through live sessions with me where we are going to draw them out as individual cards, and then they are inserted into the game. So talk about being a part of the community. That is just so badass. I love it, man. And we've been working on some of the cards. It's fun. It is just to be a part of something. Again, I guess it's sort of like the coloring book, the legacy. But this is just a great way to be involved in this project on a really high level. So you're not just getting a gift that you put on a shelf somewhere. It's like you are part of that gift, and that's where the artwork comes in, and this art-fueled piece of it. It really drives the project, and I'm ready to do more.
Yeah. So I was initially starting. I've done a lot of gaming. A lot of board games for business, by the way. So I have lots of experience with this, and it was just time. It was the right time with my new event. It's a very interactive type of event, not non-traditional at all, not hotel chairs. It's very cushy. You can contact Chris, and find out more about that if you want, and because he was there, he experienced it. But the event itself, people didn't want to leave, so I thought, well, we need to have something where they can take it home with them. Hence, the board game thing came back into play, and I thought I just need to design my own board game. That's been moving along, so I'm handling all the logic stuff for the board game, and then Chris said, well, let's do these cards. So there's actually, cards that you land on certain spaces, you draw a card in a board game. That's kind of what this is. So we're creating these card decks that there'll be multiple card decks. Depending on what card deck that you use, it'll change the way the game plays a little bit too. And we're working on the first deck. And there's some very cool, awesome art that's just coming out of Chris. And it was all from our session. I mean, we took the video of it. It was just great. And he is doing this, live sketches with me in my session, and then starts putting together the components and the pieces of the final artwork. And these will ultimately become cards, cards in the game. And like you said about the higher level sponsorships, these people are helping the cause of Imagination IQ board game, but they're also, because of that, also being infused within the game itself. So in a lot of ways, we're actually promoting them. If they have a business, there could be some of the business opportunities that are actual opportunities, but they're geared with their business, with their logo, with their whatever. There's a lot of branding issues that can go on there. That's infused within my game. And so I'm cross-pollinating, if you will, all these things. And Chris is creating the platform in which I can do that through his
Yeah.
art-fueled living. So that's just fantastic.
Awesome. And another thing that just popped into my head is like that we're giving those people the artwork as part of their marketing tools, so they can use it'll be part of the game, but it's like you're having this brand created as well through this this fine art, this very personalized CU, and I don't know if that happening anywhere else either. And it's been coming up a lot more in conversations that I've been having with people. Like, they've been asking me, well, do I get the rights to the artwork? I'm thinking, yeah, why wouldn't you? And maybe it's just part of this industry or the design, graphic, technical stuff that people keep the logo or something. But I'm creating artwork for people. Like, I'm not bringing an ego into this. I'm actually creating it with people. So, that's another piece of this puzzle that is. I don't see any reason not to give you the artwork.
Well, you have, definitely, you have a project that you keep talking about at parties and around the campfire, and everyone's sick of you hearing your ideas because you haven't done anything about it. It's because, and you say, well, I don't have the money yet. I need to raise money. Well, get off your touche and contact Chris. There's the website down here below. Get on there. Find a scheduled time, get your free consultation with him. I think it's 30 minutes consultation, and he will actually help orchestrate what your next steps are. So you can raise the funds for your project, whether it be an entrepreneurial endeavor or a nonprofit cause endeavor. He does them both, and wow, So there's basically Chris is the excuse remover. That's really what Artfield Living is. There is no excuse anymore for me. I don't have the money yet. Well, you don't need the money yet. Chris is going to help you raise the money. Well, no one knows about it. Well, Chris is going to help with the awareness. Well, I don't have graphic design. Well, Chris handles that too. I'm not technical. I don't know how to do. Oh, well, Chris handles that too. Duh, right? So anyway, it was like a no-brainer thing for me.
Yeah, you make it like. Go ahead, sorry.
No, just because even though I'm really, really technical, and I know the video, and I know the web stuff, it's so refreshing for me to go, I don't have to think about that for this project. Here you go.
Yeah, it's now that when you say it to me, I want to get it done. Like, I got a ton of ideas. But I think talking about the process a little bit is probably a good thing. Just the consultation is key, and it isn't like, if it's a half hour, it's 45 minutes. I'm flexible because it really is a creative time for you and I to brainstorm ideas, for me to hear your cause, make sure that it's in alignment with all of this, and that really is the first step. So again, it's down here, right here. You go to that link or that URL, you can sign up immediately. And also, so that's the first step. The second step is where we actually reach out if it's a charitable sort of platform or process that we're going to do. Then we reach out to the charity. We need the blessing of somebody so that we have support for this project, and then we also gain the ability to work through their platform, their networks, because ultimately these are the people that are going to be donating. So that's the really important second step. If you want to have a consultation and you already have that in mind, it'd be amazing. To kind of put that step in with the first one.
Kind of like Fizz. I mean, Fizz already had his nonprofit. Or if you have your own nonprofit, that's also a thing too. Like, you started it because you were passionate, and it's just been sitting there and you don't know what to do with it. Well, you need rejuvenation going on, some restoring of the joy base that you were there to actually start that nonprofit in the first place. And that's the issue with Fizz right now with his Notes for Life.
Exactly. It's like the passion, it's all there. It's the money. And I just worked on a campaign where the person who is the leader of this community said, we can set up the fund, we got a place to put the money, we just can't raise the money. That's the hard part, raising the money. And so they're all for it. And that's just another phase. So then it's a discussion about what the artwork becomes and what the levels are of donation gifts. And so it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, this whole thing can be turned around. Dan, what did we decide? It maybe like in a call, and then a couple days later, it was like, yeah, let's launch this thing. So it's been a couple weeks, and in that time, we're ready to start funding for this project. So it's not like you have to wait around either. Like you said it. Get up, get out of your campfire chair, whatever you're doing, and let's talk about it because it can happen.
No, not just can. I mean, it will. I mean, you've already had some successful campaigns with this already, raising funds, for that the scholarships you were doing, right? For the art scholarships, for the with your art teacher that was your art teacher in high school, right? That passed away, and then you connected with the school, and that's opened up other avenues for you with the superintendent and the principal, and there's just like that's community building at its finest. So it's great for Chris. It's also great for the students because now there's a like a scholarship fund, right? That you guys are that you're building on, and you guys can do this again. You can do another. They're seeing it now. So Chris has opened the gateways so that these community leaders see that this is possible and that they can do it not just once but multiple times. So they're that beacon again, beacon in the community that doesn't go away. And Chris Cooley's got this great. His platform can actually do that for you, whether it's your nonprofit, your project, your idea, or a nonprofit you want to partner with too. So.
Yeah, it's expansive and it's exponential. Every project that I'm talking about and doing, it's like there's this first step, and then all of a sudden there are all these other avenues that you've connected to. I mean, even with with the kids with the coloring book, every kid then has their visual that represents their vision, that beautiful place, and that becomes a branch of the fundraiser. So those families, the friends, it really starts to tie people together in an amazing and expansive way, and that ultimately gets you more in tune with your tribe, your people, and your gang, all those. It's like I love it. So
yeah, and the other thing too, I just want to bring up, there's people that are maybe just starting out in this process. Maybe they're entrepreneurial or not, and maybe they're thinking, well, for this to work, I'd have to have a really big email list, or I'd have to have lots of people following me on Facebook or whatever. And that's not true. Obviously, that's nice and that helps. That would be great. But you don't need that. You can start from zero, scratch.
Yeah, the really interesting thing that's been popping up is that you really only need to know one person and one organization, and that's really big for the not-for-profit avenue. Well, it could be any avenue actually, because I'm working on a publication right now, and next month is breast cancer awareness actually. And we do an issue that's dedicated to that, and it's like we're starting a fundraiser through that to raise awareness about this publication community, the community, and build that. And so it's not only raising funds for a local cause, it's creating awareness, and it goes out forever. And
right. And from a brand perspective, I mean, you're all about the visual brand there too, Chris. So speaking about the business side, which the area that I come from, that publication is getting lots of exposure to their publication, right? Not just for breast awareness, breast cancer awareness month. It's about everything that they do.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's engaging. It's something that I've been doing forever on the side, and I've had this technical graphic design business for 8 years, thinking that this is what I have to do. In reality, and you have a similar experience, Dan, is there's people around me telling me, you are this art-fueled artist, and I'm going, yeah, those are fun side projects, but they only come up every once in a while. And in reality, I'm grateful for what I was doing or I'm still doing it. I'm just applying it in a much more, centered place, I guess.
Aligned. I mean, just aligned with who you are.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
true. And those,
Exactly.
you guys have those dreams out there too. The good people that are watching this, either live here or recorded, you guys have your dreams, your aspirations, those ideas that come to you in the shower, and like, oh, I don't know how to get that off the ground, or I need money to do it. And it's like, well, start talking to people about it. And if your friends and relatives they're not the right people for it, talk to Chris about it. And he is very very gracious with his time, very humble with his time. And like right here, here's this URL right here, this artfuelliving.com/get dash started. Type that in, and you've got his calendar right there. You can set up a time that's available for you and for Chris, and then he's going to jump on the phone with you, and you guys are going to chat about your project. You're going to be able to articulate it, and he's going to be able to draw this stuff out of you, pun intended. Draw it out of you so you can actually see your own idea in front of you. That's a
Yeah.
powerful thing, to see your own idea in front of you as someone else is like, becomes a mirror for you. Through art, he's mirroring what your true inner joy comes from, what you're really desiring to bring forth, whether it's an entrepreneurial thing, a cause for the community. Sky's the limit. So don't limit yourself, and we'll take the first step. Obviously, get a free consultation with Chris. Why not?
Yeah, it's so much fun, and I say this to everybody, and I really mean it, that I'll talk to anybody, and I'll set up a time, or we'll set up a time. It's awesome, and just to touch on the personal aspect of the artwork, that ties back to the beginning of this conversation where I mentioned that I'm not doing this for me. That's what is unique about my artistic talent, is that it actually is my ability to be able to translate the vision of others into a visual space. And that's why I don't feel like I would ever keep the rights to the art, or have an ego around it. Like, I'm never going to tell somebody that this shouldn't be the art that represents you. You know what I mean? I will definitely give my expert opinion, but I'm never going to deter somebody's creativity because I want the painting to look the way that I want it to, or something like that. So that is a key. I'm glad you brought that up. It really is. I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, and again, guys, if you look behind Chris's head, there's a heart right by his head. His heart and his head are, connected like.
Yeah, I have this banner up, and I love it. But it's kind of almost life size when you hang it up, and it's been freaking out my other half, Brittany. She's talking to the banner,
You better watch out. She might come with a Sharpie and put a little mustache on.
Yeah, right. I love it. Art fueled, man. Yeah, that's the way you see me. Draw it in there. So.
There we go. Maybe some horns, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. It's a work in progress. Always is. Always is. Chris, man, I just want to thank you, though. Take the time to thank you for your process here, because it's when I went through my session with Chris, and we were working up the sketches for my cards, or the demo cards. We're creating for a demo video that I'm going to shoot, but I need to create these cards, and we need the concepts, and we need the art for them. And we got on there, and he's drawing them out, and I'm saying keywords, and I'm saying things that I want these cards to embody, and he's just going at it. He's sketching them, and I'm giving my input, of course, but he's just doing it right in front of me. It's like this, like I said, a sketching mirror going, oh, yes, that's it, that's it, that's it. And then from black and white sketch to awesome, cool, live color artwork that is created from those sketches, it's like, yes, I can see it, I can feel it, that's important, and I can see other people, I can see it in the game, I can see it connected to the card deck. And when I start seeing it, then I just get so excited about it. I know Chris gets excited about it. So it's like this perpetual excitement. And excitement, guys, is very attractive, and that's what attracts money. So the excitement piece attracts the other people who are excited, and then it attracts the money. That's where the fundraising comes into play. And because it's so art-fueled and we're so excited and joyous doing it, people are wanting to be involved with that. When you are excited and have that good outlook, people want to give some money to, whether it's $10 or $10,000. It doesn't matter. They are engaged and you're creating a larger community. And when you do another fundraiser, guess what? They're in your tribe now. They're in your community. You're building your own community through that process to do other projects down the road. So thank you, Chris, for being that beacon for me, being that portal for me to be able to create the things that we're doing with Imagination IQ's board game. And it's so nice to have a kindred spirit, too, because I'm really creative and really visual myself, and to be able to bounce something off of you and for you to get it, and then for you to come right back at me with your own interpretation of that via art, fabulous. It's just like match made in heaven.
I totally agree, and thank you. I appreciate that. You know, the process that you mentioned, I want people to know that that's something that we will produce, or I will produce, and I want to put it live on my website so people can see that. And if you want to follow, right now my Facebook is really active, so it's facebook.com/artfieldliving. And if you want to go there, you can scope out a bunch of the new material. And there's also some of the cards that we created for you are there, so you get to visualize some of that. And, you know, the consultation thing, seriously, I want to talk to people. This is what jazz is. I'm so jazzed up about that. I mean, I'm stoked, and it's right here, you know, to do that self-promotion stuff. It's artfieldliving.com, gets /start.
Self-promotion? No, I mean, this URL right here, guys, is your starting point for promoting you and yourself and your project and the things that have been locked up inside of you. Don't die with your music still inside of you. Don't die with your art or your project or your cause still inside of you. Chris and his platform here, fabulous platform, has a key to be able to unlock that stuff and get it out in the world like it is supposed to be. So don't wait any longer. Get the consultation. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You spend 30 minutes or so with Chris, and you find out that, oh, you've got an awesome idea, and it's going to go gangbusters. Oh, darn, you know. But if you don't call Chris, you'll never know.
I will say a disclaimer, though. If we get to get connected, we create a project, you actually become a friend of mine. I build these relationships with people, so yes, we're working together. I don't like to look at it as a client thing, but I'm really hard to get rid of. So,
yes, I can attest to that. Sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm just kidding. Can't get rid of that Chris guy, man. So yeah, again, thank you, Chris, for who you are, what you do. Thank you for Art Fueled Living, because it's going to actually not only change the way I'm doing projects from starting now, but I have like 4 or 5 projects that have been brewing because of what I'm seeing you do, and that are in the winds that you don't even know about yet. So you can't get rid of me either.
A whole other call, man. A whole other call. But
right,
yeah,
right.
Thank you for
guys. You know, you see the URL on the screen here. Go. It's the only thing I can tell you is just get connected with Chris if you haven't already done so, and if you already know Chris, still get connected with him about this project, because it could be right for you.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, and thank you for everything that you've done. You've really helped me get a lot of speed and motivation behind this idea, and so I want to vouch for you as well. Dan is just a wonderful coach and motivational guy and mentor, so thank you for that. And I also want to thank everybody who is here and spread the word for me. It was just a great response, and I think people were really excited about this. I loved being here. I loved taking up a big chunk of your time today, so I appreciate it. But yeah, seriously, thank you for all the support, everybody, and let's do a call. It's right here.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. Guess we'll take care. We'll be talking soon about some cards, and hopefully you'll be so busy that I have to, from all the calls you're going to get today, that I have to just scrounge to get my time with you.
You're going to have to use the link below, man.
All right, see ya.
Bye, everybody. Take care.